Today, you're going to see the best performances in cinema. In this section, you'll witness more intensity, more impressive portrayals, and some lesser-known performances. These are roles that, in some cases, consume the actors, destroying them physically and mentally. So get comfortable, because today on Cine Prime... Naomi Watts delivers one of the most heartbreaking performances in modern cinema in The Impossible. As Maria Bellon, a mother caught in the chaos of the 2004 tsunami, Watts conveys pain, despair, and the fight for survival with brutal rawness. Her performance is physically and emotionally devastating. Every gesture, every look reflects real suffering. There are no artificial tricks, just a crushing truth that breaks through the screen. From the moment the wave hits, her expression of panic and resilience completely immerses you. Despite the extreme pain and injuries, she never stops fighting for her children, becoming the heart of the film. Her work earned her an Oscar nomination and left behind one of the most authentic and moving performances in cinema history.
Oh, yes.
It is no laughing matter.
Gary Oldman completely transforms the figure of Count Dracula in a performance that goes beyond horror. From the melancholy of a tormented nobleman to a bloodthirsty beast, his portrayal is a masterclass in nuance. Every movement, every look, and every word exudes both elegance and danger. His hypnotic voice and unsettling presence elevate the character beyond the myth, turning him into a tragic and seductive figure. We see him shift from a withered old man to an irresistible young noble, from a menacing shadow to a monstrous creature, without ever losing intensity. Gary Oldman raises the world's most famous vampire to a level of pure artistry, leaving behind a legendary and unforgettable performance. In a cast full of iconic performances, Uma Thurman shines with a hypnotic presence as Mia Wallace, completely absorbing the screen. This performance is highly underrated, not because it isn't intense, but because, from the moment she appears, with her captivating voice and mysterious aura, she dominates every scene with a mix of charisma, danger, and vulnerability. Her chemistry with Travolta is incredible, and every gesture seems both calculated and natural. What truly stands out in her performance is the depth she brings to her character. Mia isn't just a femme fatale. She's a complex, unpredictable, and even vulnerable woman. Thurman takes Mia to emotional extremes, from her captivating sensuality to her moments of desperation and fragility, making her one of the most unforgettable figures in cinema.
Who told you?
They?
They talk a lot, don't they?
Anthony Perkins delivers one of the most unsettling and complex performances in film history as Norman Bates in Psycho. Under Alfred Hitchcock's direction, Perkins creates a character who, behind his apparent innocence, hides a terrifying darkness. Through his shy gaze, nervous posture, and subtly disturbing way of speaking, Perkins builds a constant tension that never lets up. His performance goes beyond fear and suspense, achieving an unexpected emotional depth. The vulnerability he brings as Norman Bates emotionally unravels becomes a haunting reflection of the thin line between sanity and madness.
Where's that girl you came here with? Where is she?
Motherfucker, you go out here and talk to me, you fucker!
You stop it. You're drunk. You're on drugs.
I am not!
You're gonna be sorry if you don't stop.
Don't you
that.
threaten me!
Neighbor...
Don't you threaten me!
Sharon Stone gives the best performance of her career in Martin Scorsese's Casino. As Ginger McKenna, a former Vegas star caught in a world of power, money, and corruption, Stone showcases an impressive range. From her seductive gaze to her heartbreaking vulnerability, she captures the complexity of a character torn between control and self-destruction. What's most incredible is that this underrated actress holds her own against Robert De Niro in an intense acting duel. Her character development is outstanding, transforming from an elegant, seductive woman to a broken-down addict. And she portrays it perfectly, standing out and even surpassing the rest of the cast, which includes De Niro and Joe Pesci. Simply masterful.
Don't take a name.
You're not taking it.
I am. I'm waking her up right now.
You're stoned. You're a junkie. Get out
I
of
am
here.
not. She's my daughter. Don't goddamn you.
Let God.
Don't tell Mom here.
All right?
She knows. No. Pick me up back at the house, all right? You fucking don't do the yacht.
She's in the driveway.
Christian Bale delivers one of the most impressive performances of his career in The Fighter as Dickie Eklund, a former boxer struggling with drug addiction while dreaming of a comeback. Bale transforms both his body and mind to play this complex man, and his dedication is evident in every scene. What's most remarkable is how Bale captures Dickie's internal battle, torn between personal redemption and his own inflated ego. Through his deteriorated physique, expressions, and emotional commitment, he creates a roller coaster of emotions, from exasperation to tenderness. Bale doesn't just portray a flawed man, he humanizes him, making it painful to watch him suffer.
What kind of a father do you think you are?
Come on. Get the fuck
Al Pacino delivers one of the most iconic performances in film history as Tony Montana in Scarface. His performance is a whirlwind of intensity, passion, and madness, building a character who, despite his brutality, is impossible to ignore. From his unstoppable rise to power to his inevitable downfall, Pacino infuses Tony with wild energy and unrelenting arrogance, making him one of the most memorable and complex characters in cinema. Every line, every look, every gesture in his performance is filled with overwhelming energy, and his famous line,
Say hello to my little friend!
is just a small glimpse of the magnitude of his acting. The depth and total immersion in the role are what makes Scarface such an impactful film, and Tony Montana an eternal character.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Jake Gyllenhaal delivers the most unsettling performance of his career in Nightcrawler, portraying Lou Bloom, a lonely and ambitious sociopath willing to do anything to succeed in sensationalist journalism. Gyllenhaal completely immerses himself in the character, blending coldness, obsession, and charisma as he transforms from an apparently harmless individual into a truly dangerous and manipulative figure. His performance is disturbing because he makes Lou feel both eerily human and completely devoid of morality. His constant expression, piercing eyes, and absolute emotional control make it impossible to look away from him.
Any for God's,
Shh, darling. Trust me.
God's sake.
It's for the best.
Eddie, please!
Kathy Bates delivers one of the most terrifying and disturbing performances of all time in Misery. As Annie Wilkes, an obsessive fan of a writer, Bates transforms an initially harmless character into an absolutely chilling figure. Her ability to shift between sweetness and extreme violence with unsettling ease creates an unparalleled level of tension. Her performance is a study in contrasts. Her Annie seems kind and protective, but beneath that lies a monster capable of horrifying acts. She brings a character to life who initially appears merely eccentric, but quickly becomes completely unpredictable and dangerous.
Mr. Sheldon?
Hugh Jackman delivers the most intense performance of his career in Prisoners, portraying Keller Dover, a desperate father who pushes his anguish and rage to the limit in the search for his missing daughter. Jackman not only displays the devastating pain of a man on the verge of collapse, but also transforms it into an uncontrollable fury that drives him to morally ambiguous choices. Every scream, every gesture, and every look reflect Keller's suffering, making him an incredibly human and complex character. Jackman conveys the inner conflict between his love for his daughter and the darkness of his thirst for justice. His performance is raw, real, and absolutely heartbreaking, elevating Prisoners from a thriller to a high-impact psychological drama.
And why did you look for my fucking daughter rather than fucking... Hey.
No, I don't know. You said it. How do I know? You said I'm funny. How the fuck am I funny? What the fuck is so funny about me? Tell me. Tell me what's funny.
Joe Pesci delivers one of the most extreme performances in film history as Tommy DeVito in Goodfellas. His character is unpredictable, violent, and absolutely terrifying, yet also charismatic and full of energy. Pesci turns Tommy into a ticking time bomb, capable of making you laugh one moment and unleashing brutal violence the next. What makes his performance so memorable is its raw authenticity. He doesn't act like a typical villain. He feels like a real guy with no limits or fear. His intensity in every scene keeps the audience on edge, and the way he shifts tone in seconds makes him even more unpredictable. Pesci doesn't just steal every scene he's in, he elevates the entire film, delivering one of the most unforgettable performances in gangster cinema.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Bette Davis delivers one of the most legendary performances in cinema history in All About Eve as Margot Channing, a theater star in the midst of a personal and professional crisis. Her performance is a display of charisma, irony, and vulnerability, making every glance and every word exude power and depth. Davis dominates the screen with a magnetic presence, shifting between sharp sarcasm and the fragility of a woman who feels her time on stage is running out. Her performance is pure fire, portraying a woman who does not fear facing her own decline with a mix of fury and dignity. Margot Channing is fierce, intelligent, and absolutely unforgettable, cementing Bette Davis as one of the greatest actresses in history.
He's looking at you, kid.
In Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart plays Rick Blaine, a man scarred by the past, owner of a nightclub in the city of Casablanca, and caught in a political situation that forces him to confront his own heart. With his unmistakable deep voice, melancholic gaze, and imposing presence, Bogart crafts a deeply human and enigmatic character. Rick is a cold and distant man, yet he harbors an intense inner struggle, especially when he reunites with Ilsa, his lost love. What makes Bogart's performance so impressive is his ability to convey inner conflict without the need for grand gestures. Every silence, every look is filled with emotion, and his way of dealing with war and lost love makes Rick one of the most complex and beloved characters in cinema history. His performance in Casablanca is a perfect example of how a character can be both accessible and mysterious, tough yet vulnerable.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Oh, no, no!
In American History X, Edward Norton delivers one of the most harrowing and complex performances of his career as Derek Vinyard, a young neo-Nazi who, after spending time in prison, begins to question his ideology and hatred toward non-white races. Norton completely transforms his physique, losing weight and becoming extremely muscular to portray a man undergoing both physical and emotional change. What makes his performance so powerful is his ability to showcase Derek's inner duality, a man filled with hatred and resentment, but also marked by remorse, guilt, and the desire for redemption. The brutality of the early scenes, where Derek is fully immersed in violence and racism, contrasts sharply with his vulnerability when facing the consequences of his actions. Norton masterfully conveys the internal struggle of a man who wants to change but finds himself trapped by his past.
Now turn around!
Marlon Brando creates one of the most disturbing and impactful characters in cinema, Colonel Kurtz. With an enigmatic and deeply restrained performance, Brando portrays a military leader who, isolated from civilization, has succumbed to madness in the Cambodian jungle. Kurtz is a man with a distorted vision of war, becoming an almost mythical figure to those who follow him. Brando's presence in every scene is imposing. His penetrating gaze and deep voice convey a broken man, but also a thinker capable of reflecting on the nature of human horror. Despite having little screen time, the intensity of his performance leaves an immense impact, and his presence is felt even when he is not on screen. Every word he speaks feels like a profound meditation on morality, chaos, and war.
But you have no right to call me a murderer. You have a right to kill me.
That was The Top. Remember to like and comment on which performances should be in Part 3.